Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio Basics Live, Season 3, Episode 38, Ham Radio News and Updates, November 5th, 2025. November already, guys. Wow. Andy's here. Cooley is here. Waypoint, New England. Andy's here. All right. We got a full house. We're good to go. Got several things to talk about today. You know, I'm serious. I just can't believe we're in like Thanksgiving month and Christmas is knocking on the door and all that good stuff. Hey, Chris, welcome. Good to see you too. Yeah, it's just like this year's gone by incredibly fast. Dental update. I went in today. This is funny. I got a little education this week about my temps and permanents and all that kind of stuff. The temps are made via printer, okay? And the permanents are made out of cubic zirconium, and I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they have a printer that does that or it goes to a special lab or whatever. Well, I just minding my own business, eating potato chips, and my half of my bottom arch just snaps. I mean, like snap, crackle, pop. I mean, it was just like, it was on Monday. So I called the dentist office up, said, come on in. And what they could do is they could file it down and they could print me a new set, which would be, in a couple of days. Well, I just so happened that I had an appointment today because what they were doing, the finals are ready for fitting. So I went in, they take your arches out, your temps on, they put your finals in, then they do a set of x-rays because what they want to do is to make sure that they want to take a look at the implants that are in your mouth and make sure that everything is fine with them. And they were. And it fit like hand and glove, and it looked great. And it's not. And one thing I told them, they said, because you can ask, what color you want, that kind of thing. I said, just as long as we're not Brad Pitt white, okay. I don't want to, be movie star white kind of thing. And they said that's fine. And I said, and I don't want to be like my old color yellow. So they kind of compromised. It's kind of like an off-white. It looks really good. I'm excited. I get those put in next week. So that's my news. That's my update, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, it was difficult last night, Waypoint, New England. It was difficult to do the show because I was missing half the teeth on the bottom, and you get used to talking with these in, and it just is like, wow. I want to welcome everybody that is watching out on X, formerly Twitter. And if you want to join the conversation with Andy and Cooley and Chris and Waypoint, New England, click on that link in the pinned post there, and you can get on YouTube and join the conversation. We'd love to have you. Always more the merrier. That's always good. Got several things to talk about today. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is, it's coming around like I mentioned at the top of the show. It's like freaking crazy here. It's already, November here. ICOM sent out a wonderful reminder. Who's excited for the next evolution of one of Ham Radio's most loved rigs, the IC7300 MK2, is hitting the street soon. What's the first band you'll fire it up on? Contact your local dealer for more information. And this is just really kind of like, this was on ICOM America's site. And what I did today was I went out and looked out on the big three to see who actually, who's taking reservations, who has it, what the deal is here. Okay. And DX Engineering, they're taking reservations. And let's see, that's the thing about StreamYard. It doesn't let me go from one screen to the next here. Okay. Ham Radio Outlet, they're taking reservations. And last but not least, Gigaparts actually has a price listed, $1499.95, which really kind of sounds right. I'm not, and they say accepting back orders and everything. I don't know what their status is like. Just FYI for me, if I were to do this, which I'm not going to right now, but if I were to do this, I would go with like either DX Engineering or Ham Radio Outlet, where you can put a deposit down, because I don't want to go ahead and pay $14.99.95, okay, to do that. In fact, I don't even know if they will say initial shipments are planned by the end of 2025. You can get in line by reserving your spot today. So, if you go to add it to cart, and I'm not going, let's just go to cart. Let's see if it actually will go there. Okay. That's because I had two listed in here. All right. One. Yeah. See, you're gonna have to you would actually have to pay the 14.99.95 to get in line there on Gigaparts. So I think we all know how we will go ahead and get one of those. Okay. I don't want Gigaparts to be, yeah, they're great people. Don't get me wrong. I don't want them to hang on to my money any longer than I have to, as far as that's concerned. So that's the skinny on that. But that's coming around the corner. If push comes to shove, I don't think it's going to be here in time for Christmas. For those of you that wanted to think that Santa may have dropped it under the tree or drop it under the tree, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know; it could happen. I personally think it's going to be in January-ish sometime, but definitely before Hamcation in February. So stay tuned. That's coming up. It's something exciting. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see reviews on it and to see how things pan out on it. So that's where that's at. There is an HT out there right now that is just people are just going ape over. Okay, it just and I just got an inkling today of how actually hot it is, and I mean it's like literally it's almost like on fire hot, not in a bad way, but in a good way. People are buying them left and right. There are boatloads of reviews out on YouTube on that, and I'm going to bring it up right now out on Amazon. Okay, it's the UV5R Mini. Okay, and wow, $28. USB charging on this. The feature set on here is absolutely fantastic. It's actually on sale, 29% off right now, which is fantastic. Normally $39.99, so it's $28. So that's something you can put in your stocking stuffer list, or if your loved one's looking for a recommendation to get you something inexpensive ham radio related, there it is right there, guys. It doesn't get any better than that. It really, I mean, what it has, of course, it has NOAA on it. They give you 3 antennas with it. You get a lot with this package here. Copy frequency, multi-band, Type C charger, FM radio, NOAA, 1.44-inch Vox flashlight, 999 channels, and 3 antennas, which is fantastic. APP programming, which is great because if you watch my TD radio reviews, that kind of programming is just awesome. It's just absolutely flipping off. Double push to talk keys. Okay, wow. Color display on there. Red light, batteries charging. Green light, batteries fully charged. No programming required. One touch search frequency on here. 10 weather receiving channels. That's great. Let's take a look here and see. Only 200 grams. I mean, this is like, yeah, this is something that you want to get on your list. And if you don't have it, you probably want to get it. And by the way, it does test clean, just to let you guys know. I know a lot of guys, and that's the first thing that people are going to ask. Hey, Bill, does that test clean? Yes, it does test clean. For $28, wow. You can buy several and give to your friends. Okay. Yeah, you can. If you want to give one to me, I'd be happy. Email me at Ham Radio Basics, and I'll give you my address, and you can send one to me. I won't say no to that. So yeah, but that's definitely on my list. It checks all the boxes. Especially with the clean signal as far as that's concerned, and it's feature packed, and it's $28. I mean, wow, it's just. Yeah, wow. I can't say more than that. I really, really, really can't say more than that. That's just absolutely fantastic. $28. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but yeah, that's that that hits a sweet spot for me as far as an HT is concerned. Of course, my Yaesu FTD5R. I mean, it's like trying to pry my hands out of that. Okay, it's just I think it's the best HT out there. That's just my personal opinion. I really like it. It's a lot easier than a lot of Yaesu's to program and to get to and to navigate around the menu system in. And I really like the signal reports I get when I use that. And I'm very, very, very pleased. That's one of the things that I'm pleased about. Just as a programming note, just to let you guys know, one of the things I'm planning on doing is we're going to be doing on a regular basis, probably on a weekly basis too, maybe. I'm going to be reviewing HTs, and there's a lot out there. You can see they're quite affordable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those analyzers that Smoking Ape uses or TO uses, and we'll take a look at the frequency spectrum. See if it has a clean signal. See if it's supposed to say 5 watts. 5 watts is coming out, or it says 10 watts. 10 watts is coming out, and get all that hooked up. Tiny spectrum analyzer, and there are some good ones to get because I've emailed both TO and Smoking Ape, and they gave me the good ones to go for. And there's a specific brand to look for because there's a lot of knockoffs out on like AliExpress or Banggood, and you want to be really careful on which ones you get. So I'm going to get mine through Amazon, and it's a little bit. I think it's just south of $200 for that, but it's feature packed, and it's one of these things. I think I want to do that because I want to know the radios that I'm using are clean. So I think this is going to be a good thing, and I'll be getting videos back out here. So that's something I'm definitely going to be looking at. So that's coming up. Stay tuned. That'll happen after the first of the year. I'm really trying to adjust my schedule here because, as you know, I have my drone channel, and we're still going in spite of everything you hear. We're still going strong. We're not going anywhere as far as that's concerned. Waypoint New England knows that. And of course, I got this one. I also do sports related channel, Florida Panthers Den. I have a podcast with that about once a week or once every other week. I do podcasts for that, but I have a heavy social media presence on that. So that kind of keeps me busy. So I'm watching games and getting things updated. So I'm carving out time for ham radio because it is something I love. And I know you guys enjoy my videos. So we're going to be plowing forward, and we are going to Hamcation this year. There's no question about that. We're definitely going to go to that. So, but that's coming up. That's February is going to be right around the corner here before we look. So, well, one of the things, and you may have seen it today, and I want to go ahead and get this up now. Thought this would come over here. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I got it to where it's better here. Okay. And I can read this to you guys. You guys know I recently did a video on and I forget the name of the telecommunications company that's on the FCC covered list, and talked about some of the radios being banned. Well, I don't think right now, some of their things are banned. The HTs, I think, are still okay with them, but and just to let you guys know and to keep you up to date. Oh, Mike, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work, Mike. Thanks for stopping by. I want to talk about this, even though this posting is specific to drones, but it deals with the FCC, and I just came out with that video on that one brand, and it's causing some, I don't want to say panic, but it's causing some alarms to go off with people, and as far as what's going to happen. And I'm going to read this here. It's going to take a couple of minutes, so bear with me. But I want to get you guys up to speed here. This is happening and while this is happening in the drone space, it's happening because, and you realize something, okay, that FCC symbol that you see on your radios, okay, everything has to go through the FCC and be tested so it can be sold here in the United States. Well, because drones, you have a controller and you have the drone, they use radio waves to communicate. They have to be approved by the FCC. Okay, it's not the FAA, it's the FCC because it's communication. It's using the radio spectrum out there. Okay, so this is why the FCC has an awful lot of clout here, and they just passed a vote 3-0, their board, which is all. I mean, that they can retroactively ban items, and what that means is ban items that countries who are on the covered entity list. And the covered entity list means, they're a threat to national security. And, it's the elephant in the room, China. Okay. That kind of thing. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and read this. And I'm Droney Okie, welcome. Hey, thanks for stopping by today. Appreciate it. It's like Rotor Talk Live Part 2 here. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. I'm going to go ahead and read this here. Just, kind of keep it in the background. They're going to be talking about some drone kind of stuff, but also too, the whole gist of this is with the FCC, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. Okay. Keep calm, keep flying. What the FCC's new rules really mean for DJI owners. Panic makes for great headlines. It does not make for great policy. Lately, you've probably seen claims that the Federal Communications Commission can reach back in time and yank approval from the drones you already own. The thousands of dollars in gear might be grounded by morning. This is not what the FCC voted to do. The commission closed a real loophole that let risky radio components slip into the market. Yet it signaled that people who already own approved equipment can keep using it. The distance between these two ideas is the difference between fear and facts, and it matters. The backstory is straightforward. For years, national security officials have worried about foreign-made radio modules can be used to gather data, move it off-site, or provide a hidden foothold inside American networks. These concerns became sharper as Congress passed the 2025 defense bill, which requires a security review of DJI and sets a deadline for that review. Against that backdrop, the FCC updated its equipment authorization program. The agency can block new approvals for companies placed on the covered list. It can refuse to authorize devices that sneak in and risky components under a different brand, and now it has a process to limit prior authorizations so that additional import sales of certain products can be easily stopped. The headline version sounds sweeping. The text is narrower. The commission says continued use of equipment already in your hands remains authorized, and any retroactive steps run through the public interest analysis with time for the public to weigh in. That's not a midnight confiscation plan. This is an administrative law doing what it's supposed to do, which is more deliberate and on the record. If you fly DJI drone today, here's the honest state of play. DJI is not automatically placed on the covered list by this rule. The real hinge is the audit required by the defense bill. If no agency completes the review by the deadline, then the company could be added to the list, and the FCC would be forced to block new authorizations and imports. This would squeeze the pipeline for new models and would tighten distribution. It would not by itself order you to power down your aircraft. The commission makes that distinction plainly, and media that reported responsibly on the vote noted it. The drama in your feed comes from bending what could have happened in a worst-case scenario with what the order actually says today. Why is a blanket grounding unlikely, even under sharper scrutiny of DJI? Start with the words on the page. The FCC says it is not requiring manufacturers to replace or disable equipment already in consumers' hands. Continued operation remains authorized while the agency focuses on imports and marketing. Any move that goes beyond that would require a further process, a product-by-product determination, and a legal theory that would need to survive court review. That is a high bar, and the agency knows it. Now look at the world outside Washington. The United States built a drone ecosystem that rules heavily on DJI. Public safety, construction, agriculture, and small creative business use these aircraft because they're capable and relatively foldable. When Florida banned Chinese-made drones for state and local agencies, departments discovered what replacement really costs. Reports estimated nearly $200 million in DJI equipment would need to be swapped, while the legislature set aside only a fraction of that amount. Some agencies paused programs. Others tried approved models and found reliability gaps. This is not abstract. These are fire calls, missing person searches, hazardous scenes, or a drone keeps a human out of harm's way. A decision that grounds widespread fleets would ricochet through budgets and response times. And the outcry will not come from enthusiasts. It will come from police and firefighters who've already testified about the consequences. Domestic alternatives are growing, yet they do not cover every mission profile or price point. NDAA-compliant aircraft avoid restricted components and provide greater supply chain transparency, which is good. They also tend to cost more with shorter flight times, shorter ranges, and different camera capabilities. Some pilots will diversify their kits that is sensible risk management. Replacing millions of airframes overnight, though, is an economic and logistical fantasy. Batteries, payloads, chargers, training firmware, workflows, it all changes. The FCC understands the reality. Industry groups and public agencies have been hammering that into there. And I'm going to go on here and kind of finish up. The fact is, you're seeing online in the hands of Congress treats this as a morality play. Good versus evil, freedom versus bans, your next launch versus a dead app. The policy is that actually unfolding is a calibration, a tightening how the United States approves radios in a geopolitical moment. The commission gave itself more leverage against companies that refuse scrutiny, which is a prudent step. At the same time, it stressed continuity for existing users, which is a prudent step too. You do not need to panic. You do need to stay engaged because the future of the market will be written in comment filings, supply chains, and purchase orders over the next year. If security review is fair and thorough, the outcome will be more credible, whichever way it goes. If it's bypassed, the import pipeline will constrict, but the airspace above your field, your job site, and your neighborhood will not fall silent the next day. Keep calm, keep flying, keep receipts, and keep your voice in the process. This is how you project your craft. This is how you protect a community that has saved lives, built businesses, and shown the public what a camera in the sky can do when it's used with skill and cared. And that is it for that. And I'm sorry that it was a little long-winded, but I wanted to read that to you guys because, excuse me here, I got to get something to drink. I wanted to read that to you guys to kind of give you a flavor for what's going on in the drone space. And I'm going to say this, it's coming to us as well too, ham radios. We've already seen it with that video that I just put out, okay? And while they haven't actually banned HTs, they banned some of their radios because China's on the covered entity list. And they kind of gave themselves some power. Now, I know the author of the article talked about it's kind of prudent, and it is actually, when you think about Huawei, for example, okay, they actually, they're banned in the United States. They're on the covered entity list. They were shown to actually be stealing, national security. They were stealing information and sending it over to China. Okay, well, just long story short, and I know Waypoint New England and Joni Oki knows, it's been proven by a big 8 accounting firm who's done an audit that there's no national security risk with DJI drones. I'm saying all of this because I want to make you guys aware and, number one, of what's going on, okay? And you need to stay engaged, keep an ear to the ground, and pay attention to this, all right? Go out on news outlets. Follow me on Bill the Drone Reviewer because I'm trying to get all the latest out there every Tuesday night. You guys are welcome to tune in at least the last half hour because we're going to be talking about this till it happens on December 23rd is a drop dead date. Vern, hey, what is up? Thank you for stopping by, my friend. Good to see you. So tune in on Tuesday nights because between now and December 23rd, which is the date that they have to make a Mike, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Good, appreciate it. Vern, it's absolutely awesome to have you on here. That is absolutely awesome. Awesome. And tell your beautiful wife I said Bill says hi and Valerie says hi as well too. And hope you guys are doing well. But no, the last half hour of each show, we really kind of focus in on this drone ban and everything that's going on. And I think in the ham radio space, you guys need to pay attention to this, because I went through and I read this, because they're doing it in the drone space, okay, which it's involving communication, it's involving the spectrum, okay. You need to stay alert, because they've already started with one company, all right. And who's to say they're not going to go after Baofeng? And who's to say they're not going to go after Zygu, all right, um, or Ocean, as it's called. All these radios that are made over in China. Who's to say they're not going to start going after them as well too? And now granted, quite a few, almost majority. I don't want to say majority, but the three big companies, Kenwood, Yaesu, and ICOM, are Japanese based. Okay. But who knows? They may have plants in China as well too. I don't know. But I want to keep you guys, I want you guys to stay aware, awake, and alert about all of this, because while it's happening in the drone space, it's going to happen to us in this space as well too. All right. And you guys need to really pay attention to this. All right. Now, I have written ad nauseum to my U.S. Senator, who's one of the linchpins of this, Rick Scott, and I got a wonderful form letter back from him, of course. I've actually messaged, I've actually asked him on X, on Twitter. What we have asked for is to show us why DJI drones are a national security threat. Nobody's answered that question. All right. And there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of moving parts to this. There's talk about building a U.S. company, or that it's underway, even here in Tampa. Julian, OH8 STN, you guys know him. He has a great blog post. Read that at length. Okay. Justin, I think you're right. Yeah. See, that's the thing, some of our ICOMs and some of our Yaesus may be made, and Kenwood, some of them may be made in China, and we don't know. So, keep your ear to the ground, guys. One if by land, two if by sea, Paul Revere, the British are coming, the British are coming. I'm trying to be the town crier. I'm trying to let you guys know, pay attention to what's going on. Okay. Now, what's different for us, and this is something I think is really important for you guys to understand. Okay. We have an advocate. In the drone space, we don't have an advocate. Droneoki knows, Waypoint New England knows, I know. We don't have any organization representing us. Okay. We don't have an ARRL in the drone space. And I hope we do after this. I hope whatever happens and settles, that when the dust settles, that we get an organization together and set it up right from the start. Okay. ARRL has its warts. Okay. And I will be the first to admit that. Okay. But I'll tell you what, they are out there actively lobbying with Congress to defending the radio spectrum. They actively work with the FCC as well too. Okay. They're out there. They are fighting for us. Okay. And fighting for that radio space for us. Okay. Which is key. It's so important. You can't underestimate that. And this is a huge thing for all of us, because I know a lot of people out there are just, there's a lot that's wrong with ARRL. Don't get me wrong. Okay. There's a lot that needs to be gutted and fixed. That website, I think, is just an eyesore. It's like 20 years behind. I could say a lot of things, but what I am going to say is this. I look at the positives from ARRL. Okay. One of the things, their books and their educational materials, it's absolutely fantastic. You can't pass that up. I mean, Sully Walt's book is on there. I mean, my gosh. And, they've expanded their horizons. They're kind of thinking they're catching up a little bit more to this century. They did a great book on POTA that came out, just besides some of the classics, which they do have, which is great. Okay. And then, a lot of people don't know, I have ham radio insurance through them. Okay. From my gear, which is fantastic. And it's really kind of pennies on the dollar, and you're instantly approved for stuff. I mean, all you got to do is provide a receipt and you're good to go. But the big thing is the spectrum defense. And, if you can donate to that, all you got is $10, donate $10. If you can chip in 25, chip in 25. Okay. That's they're out there fighting for us. Okay. And it's not just for the defense of that spectrum, but also to fight against things like this. Okay. When's the last time that, and I said that about my DJI drone. When's the last time my DJI drone transmitted secrets to they're going to take a look at, I filmed the clubhouse and the pool and the fountain at our entrance today. And Johnny Oki in Waypoint, New England know, the kind of videos that I do. I don't do, everybody loves to do the video of fall and the trees and outdoors and nature and stuff. I do more educational type videos showing people how to do some of the features of that. That's what my channel really focuses on, besides the live shows when I go out there and I do that. So Alan, welcome. Thank you for stopping by today. Appreciate that. All right. Nay says hi. All right. We are good to we're now complete here, Vern. We are now complete. That is just absolutely awesome. I appreciate that. Hope you guys are doing well. Okay. I think about you guys often, and you guys are always in my thoughts and prayers. And you guys are such a blessing out there. And I always look for your content out there, Vern. Always your posts are full of a lot of wisdom. Okay. A lot of wisdom. And I think the wisest thing you did was marry Nay. Okay. And like the wisest thing I did was marry Valerie. Okay. So I'm throwing, I know I'm kind of like layering it on right now, but no. Oh, wow. Okay, Justin, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a digital red. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's all that I have for today. I kind of did spend some time on this, and I know it was kind of geared toward that. Well, Vern, you need to take care of yourself, and you need to take care of that beautiful wife of yours. Okay. Don't worry about videos. Okay. We know you. We love you. Join us anytime. It doesn't matter if you're getting videos out there, my friend. Okay. Just, if you're able to be a part and join us, I'm on every Wednesday at 5:00 Eastern. You're more than welcome to come out, and you're more than welcome to watch on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern. Is about the time, my show starts at 8, but it's about 8:30 or so is when we start to talk about the drone ban, which involves the FCC. So like I said, do not worry about that. Do not worry about that. Yeah, Justin. Yeah, that's getting there. Alan, thank you. Chris, thank you as well. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys make my day, make my Wednesdays. I look forward to this time each week. It's different from my drone show, but you guys still are great. Thank you for your wonderful comments and in the chat and everything. And well, everybody take care of yourself. Vern, you take good care of yourself, my friend. Okay. Ping me anytime you need to. I think you know how to get a hold of me. So hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, it's a great day to make a QSO. 7 3s, everybody. See you next week.